Okie dokie. So what I have here means there's no tuning warp in this diagram. So I've moved everything over. You can see it was kind of like a mismatch. Some of the frets are mismatches, because when you just move a fret drawing over, you're going to get fret mismatches. But my fret diagrams are all the same size fret until I'm ready to put them on the guitar. Then I have to measure in millimeters, okay, or centimeters point and a tenth, the width of each of these, and then they have a height that doesn't change much. It changes about a millimeter each fret, each way. So you can tell that I've warped over, I've back warped this one. All right, and then if we go way over to the other side, I don't know if we could do that. Wow, we're on the subway here. See right here, I've also, labeled the same thing. So these top two strings are in P4 tuning now. So you're not going to see the same shaped chords. You'll see the same thing. Let's say this was like a bass guitar down here. Okay, if we had a bass guitar that was all P4 tuning, let's get cursor mode 2. Oh, then we can't draw it without okay, we got to draw in draw mode. Draw. Okay, so right there is a couple of notes, a couple of frets from a bass guitar like that. Okay, if we had it tuned, so if we were looking at the key of E, if that bass guitar was in the key of E, which I assume it is. So that E, if we called it the 7th, okay, so there's a little anomaly with the E shape, and a lot of guitarists get confused with the E shape at first, I'm sure, and it's because it's the easiest shape to play. But with my string shape theory, it's not the easiest key to play in. With the short string shapes, if you want the E to be the 7th, then what is it? What is the 7th of? It's the leading tone to the key of F. So 7 root 2 would be more appropriate. If we were looking at E as the 7th, it would be the key of F. Moving right along. So in this particular drawing, we've got an unwarped fretboard. So I put it back where we have, if we look at a root here, we're in the 4th. We go straight up to the warped fretboard, it's the 3rd. So that's the difference. Let's just zoom out a little bit, enough to see what's going on here, say in these guys here. So we've got our E shape on the bottom. Why did I do it on the bottom? I really can't tell you. Oh yeah, because we're studying we're studying the E-C relationship, and more than just the relationship between the two of them, where we have the mystery fret right here. It's the missing fret, I call it. If you'll notice, there's 5 string shapes listed there. A wonderful thing about the string shapes is that they can be done anywhere on the keyboard, and that's the best way to do your solo. Now I'm going to remove Mr. Capo, give him a break for a minute, and so that I can just play. Let's say we're going to play this E right here. Okay, so we're going to do this E right here. Say we're going to do it in F. So it's an E-shaped F, so it's going to be root. So that's Ionian. Okay, according to this diagram, we can use the one long string pattern to lead into a short pattern, which is the D pattern. So it would be root, then into the D pattern, like that. For the 4th, the same relationship exists. Now let's look at C and E. Now we're comparing them. We have them right next to each other, and usually with E tuning, with this is your low E note, think I hit the F, but it sounded a lot farther away. Anyway, with our low E note here, okay, we usually don't get a chance to look at the E tuning. The C-shaped, the E-shaped C is right down there. We're always up here. So let's look at that. This is Andy's guitar, and this is I usually see this as, hey, this is, doing this for myself, but what about my friends who are in this kind of tuning? That's why I went over to favoring this type of tuning, and I use a capo on a regular basis to teach this. We had to settle down to a certain configuration, but look at this now. The same thing would exist an octave up from the E, which is way up here. Here's our C. Okay, so we've still got that little C-shaped up here. We still got, okay. Okay. So we have the missing fret in between. So we have E and C right here with like a river going through it. Okay, and that's the missing fret. And by the way, the missing fret is the magic fret for the tritone. So the tritone is here between the 4th and the 5th. There's a C label there because it's the C string, it's within the C string shapes 3, 4, 5. Okay, so remember, C string shape is 3, 4, 5. G string shape is 6, 7 root. D string shape is 2, 3, 4. A string shape's 5, 6. And E string shape 7, root 2. That's how I divided the string shapes up, and we had them on the string shaped circle. So in the missing fret, the missing fret is the magic fret for the tritone. It's kind of a trivial fact. It's kind of unrelated to what we're doing. So if you're in the key of G flat, which is an interesting key on the piano because all the accidentals are a pentatonic scale. And the string shapes, by the way, came about from pentatonics when I was first learning pentatonics, where let's say we have an E-shaped F pentatonic. Okay, then you just add the 7th to it, like that. Okay, I'll get that right. So you add the 7th to it and you get the diatonic. The string shapes came about still within that structure of the pentatonics. So let's say a pentatonic A shape. You've got the A shape right there on top and bottom. Okay, and then you have what's called like an S short. You got the shorts because the 7 is on the outside of the pentatonic scale, and that's the way it, I got into the diatonics, and believe me, I was scared to actually add the 4th and the 7th to my beloved pentatonic scales. How was I ever going to remember that? Well, I did find ways to do that, and we have what came out of that was these scales we can use. Now we've already used root 2, 3 here to lead into a D shape. We've got, these are diatonic scales with the 4th and the 7th blackened like that, because if you want to do the pentatonic, you can just do it, but keep in mind this is the pattern, not the fretboard. So when you hit the tuning differential between the G string